Hello. 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 Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Are we on? Hello. Are we on the air?
Are we on the air? Okay, people. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike and JR here. We're having a little technical problems, but we're trying to sort it out. We're trying to sort out our technical issues here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're working on it. Anyway, welcome to Hempspeak. I'm Mike and JR. JR, you got to talk. I can't even talk.
I can't hear a thing, but I'll keep talking.
Try mic number 3 here.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me on this mic? I don't hear a thing. This is a nice show we got. Okay, good job. Good job. Good job, you guys. Okay, with us in the studio today, we've got some really cool people. Hopefully we can hear you guys. We've got Jay Johnson and Doug Weatherman. They're with the Speakeasy Vape Lounge, and they're going to tell us all about what's happening at the Speakeasy Vape Lounge. JR, what you got going here? He's working the board feverishly trying to sort out things. How you doing today, my friend?
Well, I'm doing okay now. I think we'll just keep talking. We're on the air. We'll just keep going. And want to thank everybody for listening to Hempspeak. We are making broadcast history as the world's first hemp radio show, streaming worldwide at letstalkpot.com. And don't forget, our audience is your customers. Our audience is extremely interested in your message. If you're interested in getting your message out to our listeners, let us do that for you. We have numerous sponsorship packages available here on Hempspeak. Join us. Put your ad right here. Be a part of broadcast history. Contact us at info@hempspeak.com. info@hempspeak.com. Our website is hempspeak.com, and you can listen to us anytime live at letstalkpot.com.
And I would recommend to the audience, always go to hempspeak.com. A lot of stuff changing, but one thing will be steady and standard, and that'll be hempspeak.com. And we'll try to give you all the direction as Hempspeak moves around. Anyway, it's great to have these guys with us. We have Jay and Doug from the Speakeasy. Doug, how you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. How you guys doing today?
We're so happy to have you guys on board. Speakeasy Vape Lounge is kind of an interesting phenomenon here in Colorado Springs. Even though Colorado Springs has banned recreational marijuana, we've somehow embraced the cannabis social clubs. And I think that's a good thing personally.
Yeah.
And you guys are involved in absolutely. Were you first or second in town, or?
My understanding would be that we were technically the third, and the second with a brick and mortar location. Third club to have organized.
Now, how long ago was that, Jay? When you guys?
2013, April 1st of 2013, we opened the brick and mortar. February 2013, we formed the official club. And then opened the location in April. So,
well, what a crazy ride it's been.
It has been, yeah, very good.
Now, Doug, you do a lot of stuff with the club. Now, you do the bookings and such.
Yeah, I handle all the event bookings and talent booking, et cetera, like that.
You got some exciting shows coming up?
Oh, yeah, we got a ton of exciting shows. We got this month, still with the rest of this month, we got a cannabis prom coming up. That's going to be a big one.
Huge. That's our third annual cannabis prom. This year's theme is 80s, flashback to the 80s, so it's an 80s prom. Cannabis prom has always been one of our biggest, most popular events. People really go all out for the cannabis prom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't enjoy their prom when they went to high school. It wasn't the way they wanted it to be. This is a chance for us to do it over again the way we wanted it to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Then next month we got a whole bunch of nationally touring hip hop coming through. We got the Blackhearts coming through with Gold-Plated People, brass knuckle group here in town, and then that same weekend that's on Sunday, and then this on a Thursday too. We also have Grayskull coming in from the Rhymesayers group. So it's a lot of big name acts. We always have a lot going on. We always have a lot of shows booked. Keep up with our calendar, man. Check us out on Facebook, the website, everywhere.
Now, one thing we just talked about just for fun is we've got any caller call up right now. We can somehow get you some passes to the Speakeasy. Jay, give us a little shout out.
Yeah. Basically, we were just wanting to support Hempspeak. Speakeasy and Hempspeak go hand in hand, and we appreciate you guys having us on. So, if someone wants to call in right now, first person that we get to call in and claim this prize, they'll get 5 free passes and a Speakeasy T-shirt, limited edition Speakeasy T-shirt for them. So,
Well, it might help. JR, give the phone line. It might be able to help.
It's a 719-591-5874, 719-591-KUSH. That's KUSH with a K.
That's right.
So on a typical week, the Speakeasy, the hours it's open at approximately what time?
At noon. We usually open at noon, and we're usually open until midnight or later, depending on what the event we're doing is.
the crowd participation, the event. Sometimes we'll be open later. For the most part, noon to midnight every day.
Now, I noticed you had some good karaoke. In fact, Jay, I heard the other day, he's darn good, JR. This man can
I'm a
rap with the
karaoke
best.
fanatic. Yeah, Smoky, me and my friends.
Smoky.
Yeah, years back, me and my friends got into. We used to go do karaoke, and back before it was, legalized, we were smoking out in our cars, and we would jokingly, lovingly call it Smoky. So when I opened my club, I knew I had to have Smoky as a staple. We have DJ Hostile, Big Hoss there. He's our buddy. He holds down karaoke for us. He kills it. He's an amazing talent too. He's a really good singer. And we have a lot of people that come out. Karaoke's been very popular. Every Tuesday, you can join us at Speakeasy for Smoky. So.
Tuesday, now what time does that start, Jay?
The doors open for karaoke about 7 o'clock. We really get things kicked off around 8, but yeah, around 7 o'clock is when the crowd starts shuffling in and preparing themselves. But we have a pretty good karaoke crowd for sure.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think, just between me and you, I love the evolution of these cannabis clubs personally. In Colorado, we had A64, an amendment to our Constitution, which allowed adults to possess and use marijuana. However, there's nowhere to use it. You could buy it, but you couldn't use it in the hotel room. You can't use it in your car. So the only place you can use it is your house.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of simple that the evolution, it makes sense that this evolution becomes more like a bar-like area. But the ones I've seen are so comfortable. Your space is such a comfortable place. You got VIP, you got some pool tables, you got edibles. It's really a fun environment. How did that even come about?
Well, that was really the reason for opening mine. Originally, one of the first clubs I had attended to, and one thing you got to understand about clubs is they don't necessarily have to be brick and mortar. They just have to be an organization. So these clubs, members were joining, and then they were changing locations. Basically, they were hopping around finding what bar would allow them to use it for the weekend. And the state quickly put a halt to that by threatening these same institutions with having their liquor licenses pulled. So, if you do these cannabis events, we'll pull your liquor license. And so quickly they started running. And so we realized the need to have a dedicated location for exactly these purposes. But one thing what I noticed is the ones that started to open, it was I don't know how to say it. It wasn't quite to the standard that I would expect for cannabis, that I wanted highlighted for cannabis. That we wanted to show people that cannabis could be taken seriously, that it could be done correct. And so we set out to take ourselves very seriously, to make something that was on par with something you would expect from a high-end bar, something you would expect from a high-end restaurant, but for cannabis. Not you bring your you bring a couch from your basement, and I drag an old lazy boy out of my garage, and we throw it under the same roof and call it a club. But something that really you would be willing to spend money on. I mean, if you're going to go out and spend money to hang out in a place, shouldn't it be better than what you left, right? I mean, if your furniture's nicer at home, why not just stay there? If the music and the atmosphere is better at home, why wouldn't you just continue to stay there? But we go out to socialize, and we go out for the atmosphere, we go out for the company, and so we wanted to provide the best of both.
Very cool. Jared, we got a caller on the line.
We do. Our guests are Jay Johnson, Doug Weatherman from Speakeasy Vape Lounge, 2508 East Bijou here in Colorado Springs. Get back to them in a second. Let's go to the phones right now, Mike.
I think we have Granny Ganja on the line. Is this Granny Ganja? Hello. We're trying to reach you, Granny Ganja. It's not going to be successful. It doesn't look like. So we'll keep on trying on our technical issues here. Somebody messed with our board today. It's kind of funny. In the meantime, while we're trying that, JR, keep working on it. I just want to read this little story here. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you guys find any humor in this, but there used to be a newspaper out there called The Onion.
Mm-hmm.
And The Onion was really funny.
Farce news,
Farce news, very satirical. Everything was kind of made up.
Yeah.
And we get a little paper in our neighborhoods around Colorado Springs. And these guys, I don't even want to name names or anything because they're so silly that it's absolutely frightening. But I will read you the first paragraph. It says, 1 in 6 teenagers who try marijuana will become addicted. And 88% who try marijuana before the age of 17 end up requiring treatment. According to a University of Wisconsin associate professor, I'm not even giving her any credit other than that. That's far enough. Is that even possible, you guys? 88% need treatment.
You know, I understand this is a clinical study done by a reputable university, but owning a doctor's clinic, I also own a doctor's clinic that specializes in licensing people for cannabis. I've owned that for going on 6 years now. This just doesn't stand to reason to me at all. What's kind of funny as an outside perspective, I'm one of the biggest cannabis consumers I know now, but I did not consume cannabis as a teenager at all. I was around it. My friends all did. I just never did. The first time I consumed cannabis, I was 19 years old. So I never tried it back then, but I have friends that, and what's so funny is most of them are non-smokers now, families, business people. They don't consume cannabis or consume it very infrequently. And I consume cannabis quite often, and I would not say that I'm addicted. I could discontinue using cannabis without issue, and I've done it many times in the past, have discontinued for periods of time without problem.
So you're part of the 12%, apparently.
Apparently, and I would just imagine that if
88%
of them had to seek treatment, that you would see a lot more people in treatment that weren't court ordered or wasn't done by the judicial system, but were people who went in for seeking help. And we don't see this flood of people who are addicted to cannabis like this would state here. Yeah.
It's pretty funny stuff. Okay, I think we have Granny Ganja. Granny Ganja, are you with us? Hello.
I hear something.
We're hearing you. Oh, we're trying. Bring it down. We still can't hear it good. We're having some trouble with bringing up our phones today. We're not quite sure what our problem is. But anyway, back to this. I'm sitting there looking, okay, let's say somebody let's just go to Manitou Springs for a nanosecond and say somebody's 21 and happen to walk in Emerald Fields. Let's say 121-year-olds walk in Emerald Fields and Maggie's farm. All right, is that stat suddenly just go away now? None of them need treatment?
Right. Or, if they start like I did when they were 19, they're not in any danger of being addicted. But if they did it at 17, they have an 88% chance. Seems strange to me, but I understand what they're addressing is the development of the adolescent mind on cannabis, and that is something that hasn't been really well studied. The studies that they're still touching on are old, outdated studies that weren't done with a scientific process. There was no control. You know what I mean? These are things that, by today's standards, we would have completely written off those studies, but we still. But because they were accepted and considered legit at the time, we still talk about them. But by today's standards, none of those studies would have held water because they weren't done with a true scientific method.
Well, and the irony of this meeting was held in a bar. That's pretty funny right off the bat.
Well, and they don't mention anything about consumption, the form of consumption. Are we talking about ingestion? Are we talking about CBD? Are we talking about THC? Are we talking about inhalation? Are we talking about vaporizing? Are we talking about, combustion? What are we talking about here? They're using blanket information without giving us the details of the study.
Well, we had a guest on the other day, Bill Nichols from Lab 710, the concentrate company, and he was funny. He said something like, I said, well, where does the dab come from? And he says, well, the term comes from brill cream. Little dab will do you.
Yeah.
So we kind of sorted out that brill cream might be the gateway drug. Of course, you guys are too young to even know that stuff, but I had a dab in my hair occasionally in 8th grade, and made it stick up real nice.
Yeah.
Like butch wax, I think they called it back then. Who knows? But pretty funny stuff. By the way, this same newspaper also takes ads for like 5th and 6th grade football. It's okay to strap helmets on your kids and let them smash each other's heads at an adolescent age. But this pot stuff is really bad. So I got to do my Rush Limbaugh thing here. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we got rid of that thing. But that's a lot of fun. What else is going on? Doug, tell us who's coming up at the Speakeasy. We got a few minutes before the 4:20 break, and give us a heads up on who's coming down.
Yeah, no problem. We have a whole bunch of events going on right now. We're trying to keep everything all on the same page. We try to be very eclectic with our music. We have hip hop, we got rock music, we got bands. Weekly events that we have right now. Tonight we have Bong Bingo. You can come by and take your chance, play some bingo, and win a bong.
That's brought to you by Pipes. Brought to you by Hempspeak. There, they donate a bong to us every week for us to give away in our Bong Bingo, and you can come down. Also organized by DJ Chris Diablo there, and you guys can come down and see us tonight and compete for Bong Bingo. We got Cara Smokey tomorrow. What else we got there?
Wednesday is Where the Party At Wednesday. It's Marcus Garcia and Colorado Rap Group. They come out every Wednesday and have a weekly event with us. On Thursday nights, we have a Mental Floss Open Jam Night, which is basically an open jam for anybody that plays an instrument. You can come and play with a band called Elephant Pajamas, and those guys really know what they're doing with their instruments. And then this weekend is our 3rd annual Cannabis Prom, of course. That's on Friday. And then, yeah, man, we always stay busy. There's also a UFC fight. We're going to be airing all the UFC fights this weekend and every other weekend that are going to be happening. If no matter if we have an event or not, we got TV screens down there to air the UFC fights on. And
we've got a lot of sports packages now. We now have UFC, we have NBA, we have NFL, we have Major League Baseball. So yeah, all the sporting events you can pretty much come see us.
Very cool. Very cool. We're going to try to hold you guys over for a couple minutes if we could on the next segment. We're kind of coming up on our stuff. Once again, if anybody calls, it's 719-591-5874. I didn't say that very good. 719-591-5874. That's also KUSH for those last 4. If you guys are kind of hip out there. And our hippies on hipsters. What are we? We're the hemp whisperers, aren't we, JR? Yeah, we're the hemp whisperers. And the hippies in Hempville, they're kind of smart people, so they can get it done. So anyway, we're coming up by hearing that music. Are you hearing music yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I'm hearing things. We got 10 seconds till our music comes. So, JR, what you got going here?
Well, I was just going to say, folks can also check us out on YouTube. We got the live video stream going right now.
Go to hempspeak.com for that.
Hempspeak.com.
Oh, it's a weather forecast, JR. It's 420 weather forecast. What's going on?
At 420, the weather in Colorado Springs is always hazy.
It's always hazy. Expect extreme haziness here in about, 30 seconds. Okay, it's getting hazy. I can see it rolling in, JR. All right, hempspeak.com. Thanks for listening.
I don't know where that feed is coming from. I've tried every.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to tell Allie to call again now. We have no idea, dude. They left us in a lurch. Just...
I sent an email saying that you guys had somebody there to help you out.
Yeah, I don't know what, and JR's been in the radio business 40 years. He's been in front of many, many boards. It's not his first rodeo, so we feel like he was, every time we come in here, why can't a board be set up and we can broadcast?
When I do that, it sounds good, but you guys said don't turn that on.
And
Yeah,
there's no delay anymore.
That sounds good to us.
Well, I'm still hearing myself back. I don't know if you've got another microphone open maybe, or you've got a pair of headphones cranked up or something like that. But everything I'm telling you, everything I'm saying,
Shut number 4.
back to myself, not loud.
On a delay?
Not a delay at about, say, 25% loudness.
That's how it is when I'm talking to you. I'm hearing the same thing coming back to me.
Well, that's because my mic's open.
Okay.
Here, talk to me now.
Okay. Hello. I don't hear myself.
Gary, see, that's because my mic's open. You're going to hear everything that you're saying to me through my cue speakers.
Oh.
So that's why you don't hear an echo during the show, because my mic's closed off.
Right.
But I'm hearing everything back to myself. Like I said, either because the microphone's cranked up or a headphones are cranked up, something.
I think it's this thing right back here that's causing this problem.
You think it's that little microphone they got set up?
That's not a smart way.
They got a microphone set up for the
Audio
video
feed.
feed. Maybe that's causing everything to be out of whack.
Possible.
Because we didn't have this issue until Friday.
Well, they had it in there a few days before Friday.
Now, personally, our show, we never had any issues till Friday.
I'm wondering if there's not a mic on the webcam as well as they got this thing on the speakers button.
There's usually one built into the camera.
And that might be where we're getting it.
Here, so I'm cranked to you right now. How's my level to you?
You're driving it. You're pegging it.
How about now?
That's a little better. Yeah.
That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can turn it down like this. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's try it.
Okay.
You know what happens?
Now that's super loud.
Yeah.
That's super loud.
I don't think you can hear me. Is that one working? Or no? The orange one?
You're too loud?
Yeah, it's loud.
Is that orange mic?
Our phone lines are working now, I think.
Okay, we're back here on Hempspeak, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking to the Hempies in Hempville. You got JR and Mike. We're the Hemp Whisperers, the Weed Whisperers. We're here to help sort all this stuff out about weed, marijuana, hemp, fuel, fiber, fabric, plastic, whatever y'all want to talk about. Today we're talking about, though, cannabis smoke clubs. You come to Colorado Springs, you enjoy cannabis smoke clubs. We're one of the few places in the world, aren't we, guys, that can do that? Cannabis smoke clubs?
Yeah, well, right now we are, we're one of the few places in the world since we have passed recreational marijuana. Some of the other states that have passed recreational marijuana have put moratoriums on any social cannabis for now. It seems that the whole country kind of sits back and waits to see what Colorado does and how it pans out, how it works for them. And then they come out with programs based on the rises and falls they see within what we do, you know.
So you guys were among the first. It seems like the first people
We were
through the
we were
wall
among the first.
always get the bloodiest. Tell us about the battles you had to fight to get to where you're at right now.
Well, we've been lucky within our region because, like Mike was saying, they have banned recreational marijuana sales within the local jurisdiction, but they have taken a hands-off approach to what I call social cannabis, which is the social centers. This is something, though, that I do believe will be addressed eventually, simply because a lot of the people using the club model for protection are operating in a way that contrasts with the licensed industry. And so the states, eventually people are going to say, hey, why continue this licensing if other people can do it without it? And so then that will be addressed, I'm sure. But Right now, we've been able to have the opportunity to develop a viable cannabis social scene, show the state that it can be done. That it can be done responsibly, just like alcohol. Even more so. I think we all know that cannabis is way safer than alcohol. But as long as we take that same approach to it, that same approach of responsibility, safety, self-accountability, then cannabis should be able to have a place in the social scene just like alcohol does.
Jay Johnson and Doug Weatherman from Speakeasy Vape Lounge with us today here on Hempspeak. Jay, I know you've had a background in the cannabis industry for a lot of years. What have you guys done, or what's in your background to prepare you for what you're doing right now?
Well, I've been in the like you said, I've been in the cannabis industry for a number of years, but I also came from the entertainment industry, so that works. And then because of it, I had connections and know people within entertainment like Doug, and I just called him up. And so for me, it was a perfect marriage. I was in entertainment for 7 years, and then cannabis for the last 9. And so for me, it was a good marriage of both of them. But I was able to turn and rely heavily on my connections in both industries in order to make it all happen. And that's where I had a leg up. I'm very grateful that I had that background.
Did you see, say 5-6 years ago, did you see yourself doing what you're doing now?
No, I'm a medical guy by nature. I'm a very big proponent for medical marijuana. I saw many complications with A64 when it was coming down the pipeline. Those are things we're addressing now. So I wasn't in any way necessarily wrong. There's things that were unaddressed that are now being addressed, and that's where the headaches come in. I was familiar with Amendment 20 because pre-1284, Amendment 20 was very lightly regulated and was very open, and there was a lot of things you could do. And I saw the transition. So I also know that that's coming with Amendment 64. But the difference is being able to prepare ourselves and set that model. Like I said, set something that we can show to the state, hey, what's wrong with this? Set something that complements and is in compliance with the licensed industry, to where dispensary owners aren't saying, hey, this is egregious. Why am I paying for licensing when these guys get to do it without it? Stuff that complements it. If the dispensaries are going to be like liquor stores or pharmacies, whether recreational or medical, then we need to operate more like bars. That's my stance. And then we need to have that respect for the licensed industry and not, necessarily compete directly against them. And I'm very much about entertainment. I think we all went to a concert at one point. We all went to a bar or a function where we either had to go out to our car and consume cannabis, or not consume cannabis for the night. And we all had that same thought at one point, man, I wish I could just walk in there and smoke a joint. And so that's really what it is. We're just doing our best to develop what we've all thought for years that we should have. And so we're working on that.
And Doug, what about you? Same question. What in your background has prepared you for what you're doing right now, working with Jay at the Speakeasy Vape Lounge?
I've been a touring entertainer for the better part of a decade. I tour nationally and locally here all over the place. So I know how to book shows. I know how to make artists and musicians happy with what they're doing, And yeah, that's basically my background. I know the entertainment industry. I understand the music business very well from being a part of it for so long. And I know how to talk to artists. I know what they expect when they come to play venues. And I just like to keep our venue just right on par with every other music venue in the world. You know what I mean? Same principles, same everything,
So is it very different then, going from, say, the industry pre-marijuana versus what you're doing now?
Definitely a lot of things have changed, especially in Colorado with the legalization of marijuana. A lot more artists, in Colorado now, for instance, we have a lot of people that moved here just because of that, especially in the music business. There's a lot of musicians that just ended up moving here because they wanted to be closer to this and this whole action, and everybody here that's doing it is really doing a great job.
Well, I like the fact what you just brought up about all the people moving here.
Mm-hmm.
I get a kick out of the economic side of the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
And JR and I sit here and we talk about Colorado being the petri dish, and all this is going on, just like Jay alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many people moving here. We have a little local election going on, and both these candidates are talking about, we want a small job, we want jobs. It's like, at least one of them kind of looks at the industry, but the other one's kind of opposed to the industry.
Yeah.
And it amazes me. We've been on the air 8 days with Hempspeak. It's just been an incredible phenomenon. We definitely have driven the taproot into the hemp industry. And we've had so many incredible people. And literally, when you think of the hundreds, if not thousands of jobs that are being created right here by this industry, right here in the Front Range of Colorado.
It's Colorado's own industry, you know, and it's locally grown, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? There's a lot of states that, you know, that farming, and like Colorado is a big farming state. You know what I mean? It has been, you know, in the past and stuff. So there's a lot of people that came, you know, that you know what I mean, that came here to farm, came here to do that, and then, you know, they realize that there's not a lot of money, there's not a lot of this or that in it, you know what I mean? And then so when this industry came along, it gave people that had the opportunity, had the space to do something, it gave them a way to really make a good income out of it. And that's one huge positive I see out of the industry, is that there were people that were doing, you know, that were doing one thing before, and now they have the opportunity to do another thing, or both things, you know what I mean? And there's there's no end to the benefit of it, really. It's the creation of jobs and the uprising in the income is small things compared to what's going to happen. You know what I mean? If everybody keeps on and we keep on pressing forward and fighting for the freedom.
Well, we keep talking about, and like, if the entire hemp cylinder, and of course pot's part of that cylinder, right? But the entire cylinder, let's just say that was just for imaginary purpose, it was all a big old cherry pie, just a big old cherry pie. I mean, literally the pot part of it is about one cherry.
Yeah, it's the tiniest little part of the whole thing. You know, I mean, it's just like every other puzzle. Everything has to have its pieces to be complete. This is the same kind of thing. Pot holds a good, you know, it's a good staple for the puzzle, but there's a lot of other pieces that have to come in line, and they have, and we've been doing a great job as an industry. I mean, everybody out there, from the dispensaries to the caregivers, the growers, everybody has really stepped it up.
Well, I don't think that people always realize the number of jobs. We talk about the number of cannabis directly related to cannabis jobs that have been created, but what about all the supporting jobs that have been created? And in a gold rush, a few people struck it rich off of gold, but the ones who sold the claims, the ones who sold the picks, the shovels, the mules, the wagons, the pans, the gold sifting pans, those were the ones who made their fortune at that time. And there really is a golden opportunity for having, you know, and also to talk about it, you're not directly in the line of fire. It's kind of like when you're on the front line, there's the unwritten rule of war. You don't shoot the medic, you don't shoot the ammo, you know, the ammo supply team. These are, you concentrate on the front line, and this is the same in this regard. Supporting the cannabis industry, a lot of times you're fighting the fight just as strong, just as hard, you're just as respected, and you're just as integral a part, but you're not necessarily wearing that big red target on your back either, you know. And it's something that's also very important. We need these supporting industries, you know. The t-shirt companies that have come out because of it, the promotional company. I have friends that had banner and sign companies that were on the verge of closing shop that have been able to completely revamp it because of the amount of promo needed in the cannabis industry. T-shirt companies, glass blowers that have moved here, all the supporting industry, the garden supply, the you know, everything. It's just, and then what it's done for, you know, because we still use everything from paper clips and staples and receipt paper, just like any other office or anything else. Yeah. So it's been exceptional when it comes to the growth of Colorado economically.
And I think you could even include the broadcast industry.
Exactly, the broadcast industry. I advertise on the radio. Everybody has been affected within Colorado. Almost every industry has been affected by it. And any politician that claims that it hasn't stimulated or helped is strictly being biased. Because if you step back, you don't even need studies. You can just look everywhere. Every newspaper that you see a cannabis ad in, every radio that you hear a cannabis ad on, the things and the amount that cannabis does for the community too is often way overlooked. We do tremendous things for the community, lots of fundraisers and stuff, and this is often overlooked. You know, by everybody.
That struck me the first time I ever went to a rec shop. I went to Emerald Fields, and you had there's somebody working there that meets you at the door. You go inside, and there's people working there waiting on you. There's this.
Not even. Try that again.
How's that? Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Okay. There's somebody there. The first time I ever went to Emerald Fields, which is one of the places in Manitou Springs, Junior. You walk in the door, there's somebody there that greets you behind the counter. And you go into the waiting room, there's people in there waiting, hoping to sell you some things, souvenirs, t-shirts, coffee mugs. You go inside, there's people waiting on you there. They're all working there. There's even a security guard. So
there's employees you'll never meet. There's
everywhere.
There's a garden that employs 25 people that
behind the
never meet.
scenes. Yeah, and behind that door.
Security industry. I know security companies that had modest employee base and doubled their employee base because they provide merchant guards for the industry. Transportation. There's companies that do nothing but transport product from one company to another because that you have to be licensed and process it in a certain way. These are all things that have emerged because of one industry's needs.
So how are we doing now? You've been in the cannabis industry for 9 years.
9 years.
Last couple of years, you've been doing this, running the Speakeasy.
Speakeasy about to open our second.
We had a guest on last week who talked about the journey from an illegal, unregulated industry to a legal, regulated industry. How are we doing from your point of view?
I think we're doing good. The state over-regulated medical marijuana, and if they're not careful, what they're effectively going to do is strangle out medical marijuana and replace it with recreational, which I don't think is what they intended to do or wanted to do. I think what they want to do is make money off every aspect of it, and they're going to end up trading one for the other if they're not careful because they've over-regulated medical marijuana. It doesn't stand to reason that I can go get a Vicodin prescription filled at midnight if I have a toothache, but I can't get cannabis after 7 p.m. The amount of, like we're talking about, I can take advantage of some very loose, for me right now, I have 1 foot in Amendment 20 with my doctor's office. I have 1 foot in Amendment 64. It's very Wild West with Amendment 64, as it was at one time with Amendment 20. But if we're not careful with Amendment 64, they'll come in and they'll overregulate us. I won't be able to open till 5 p.m. and I'll have to close by 10 if I'm not careful and mind my P's and Q's, which is why we're trying to present a model that can be respected, that can be akin to alcohol and in alcohol clubs and bars, and so that we can sit there and show, look, it's no different. It's really no different. In fact, it's far safer. I don't have any of the problems a bar has to do with. Thank God. I don't have to get in fights with people. I'm not worried about stabbings. I'm not worried about the two guys fighting over the one girl. It just doesn't happen in our club, and I'm very grateful for that. It's quite a different crowd in the cannabis. So.
Well, interesting ride, certainly. When we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about, I just read something about Governor Hickenlooper's about to sign a deal to really put pressure on these doctors for the severe pain part of it. And we're about to go to a break. So before you answer that, kind of hold that if you would.
Yeah,
Jay.
there's a lot going on.
And we've got Jay Johnson and Doug Weatherman with us from the Speakeasy Vape Lounge. Phone number 719-591-5874. JR.
Yeah, I just want to remind folks again, you can listen live at letstalkpot.com. That's letstalkpot.com. You can listen anytime, any place. And we're also up on the YouTube video stream again. Today, had some issues with it the other day, but we're back on that. Looks like we're starting to clear out a lot of our technical problems. And check us out on YouTube.
Well, you can always go to hempspeak.com and check out the latest. We'll be back with Jay and Doug here shortly. Thank you.
They cranked that when they did it.
What's that?
I was going to say they cranked that when they play that.
The guys in Chicago in there, but I don't ever come to the store. There we go. It was Diablo and Land. It's like, God dang, guys.
Which Diablo?
The one that's out there.
Yeah.
Is that the only monitor you guys have? Is that one?
This one,
Is that the only monitor you guys have? Is that one back there?
we don't even have that until they started the video.
Well, okay.
I don't know where that's coming from. No
The
idea.
speaker right here behind you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
All day vapor lab. If you like your e-juices,
Right
tell
there.
your friends. If not, let them know. And
Hello. Okay. Whatever you're sending us the audio feed down when you play the commercials and play the bumper music, it is just pegging everything. I've tried, when the music was playing, I turned down every pot I had and it made no difference. Yeah.
You guys are great. There's a great interview. I hope somebody's listening. Right?
Be nice, right?
Yeah. When they lost that AM, it's like, wow, that's a different deal. Can you try to dial a phone number? Let's try your skills here. There's a phone number, buddy.
I don't know where the phone is.
Oh, you just put it on to bring it up and dial the pad, I think.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see there, your headset maybe.
Yeah, I can hear it. What's the number?
Boy, here it is. 831. 296.
295.
295, thanks. 0760.
Yeah, we got let's see. We got Bongathon qualifier coming up.
Yeah.
Any word back on difference?
Yo,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I asked them for.
hey, Brian,
what's
hang
your
on. We're
number?
going to bring you up. We're going to bring you up here. Okay, just pull over. You got to go sit there. You don't think it's
I
going
just
to
want
work?
to get that secure.
Mhm, definitely.
So we can
We got
start-
issues.
Yeah,
Hang on. We might have to call you
You say
back.
it right
Try to
now.
call us, would you?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
He sounded good? Okay, see, we couldn't hear him at all.
All right.
That's good. That's good right here. Yeah. Hello.
Right. Okay,
That's
cool,
good.
dude.
Yeah.
We're going to bring you up here in a second.
Can you hear us okay, Brian?
Cool.
Okay, as long as you can hear us. We might have it figured out by the end of the show.
What's that?
We might have this figured out by the end of the show.
That's cool. Hey,
God.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Where did you hear this guy's story? He went to Hempcon in Las Vegas as a reporter at Hempcon. Just came back there from arresting people in Las Vegas.
We'll never yell at you for not keeping off the grass. K-High, the weed talk station.
All right. I like that. Never yell at you for keeping off the grass. It's K-High, the Weed Talk Station. You can listen live anytime. Let's talk pot.com, letstalkpot.com, or join us on our hotline, 719-591-5874, 719-591-KUSH, K-U-S-H, KUSH.
We have Jay and Doug in the studio with us from Speakeasy Vape Lounge, but on the line we have our roving reporter, Galaxy Emails own, Brian. Brian, are you with us? Oh, we're just having such a great day. Beautiful weather out here in lovely Colorado in the Front Range. Where are you at? Where are you at today? Well, thanks for taking the time to join us, Brian. HempCon had to be fantastic. It's one of the biggest hemp shows. There's a couple of those every year, but how was the Las Vegas show? I remember we talked on Friday and you were just going in the door and there's a lot of excitement, but then now where are we?
Pretty hard to have a convention with that kind of atmosphere.
pretty lackluster, huh?
That's a pretty lackluster deal, is what Jay said, and I agree. It's now. Let me ask you this: these vendors, there had to be quite a bit of disappointment going on there. I can't imagine. Like for example, I know like your average Prince concert in Vegas, there might be some weed. I don't know what the deal is, but is there? So there was actually. Did you see anybody arrested or anything, or?
Right.
Now, there's been previous hip cons, are they going to continue, or was this a blow, or just stay the heck out of Nevada, basically?
Well, and it may be a
Here, Jay's got a question for you.
it may be a need for like a regime change in the local area there or something, and it may just be one person who's got a problem with it. I mean, we had similar stuff. But Brian, I saw you at the big industry show, didn't I? Were you at the big industry show here in Denver? Yeah, I thought we ran into each other. I mean, they had similar problems at a lot of these shows a few years back here in Colorado, and it just got more relaxed over time. And it might be something like that there in Nevada, where over time it becomes less of a concern. My experience is that once the city or state or whoever learns that they can make money off of it and that they can get a portion of it for themselves, and they usually start becoming more accommodating to it. It usually takes a while for them to realize and for that to dawn on them, So.
Well, Well, Brian, it's nice of you to take time all the way out from where you are in lovely California. What's next for you in the Galaxy email tour? Yeah. Well, since we got you on the phone, why don't you just give that Galaxy email information to everybody? I'll say on a personal level, I've seen the product that Galaxy Emails produces. It's in a number of the cannabis social clubs here in Colorado Springs. It's one of the finest emails out there. It's if you're a vendor, you need to stock it. The price point's great. If you're a purchaser, reach out to Galaxy Email and find out how to get one. Go ahead, Brian. Give us your email.
Yeah, we carry the Galaxy. It's pretty cool.
Well, Brian, thanks for your time, and you're always welcome to call in and give us these reports from these shows. It's always fun and interesting. He's our Hempspeak reporter out there, bravely in Las Vegas. He escaped, and we'll see if he can survive his next event. It's pretty exciting out there in the world of Hempville.
You just like saying email.
That's hard to say.
It is.
Who's getting
But I saw the smile on your face. You like saying it.
I couldn't believe I could put the two words together and actually mouth it. It was kind of a strange phenomenon in my brain, actually. But it's okay, Brian. Thanks for joining us. We've got Doug and Jay still with us. Where did we leave that off? We were talking about
About the business side of it.
I think you were talking to me about the doctor's office and
Thank
the
you.
state kind of gearing towards doctors
Exactly.
and aiming at doctors. This once again is a result of, okay, so the state likes to push, and when people push back or when people push too hard, they come and drop the hammer down. And I think we've seen ads of recent times where doctors are saying, okay, for $100 you get this many plants, and for $200 you get this many plants, and that. The state's stance, and me running a doctor's office the last 5 years, I can't wholeheartedly disagree with them. The state stance is that if you took plants and you replaced the word plants with Vicodin or any other prescription, that doctor would lose his license immediately. The doctor said, okay, I'll give you 100 Vicodin a month for this much, but I'll give you twice as much if you give me this much money. This is something we're accustomed to with a pharmacy because you pay based on volume. But when a doctor is evaluating your need, the fee usually remains the same. It doesn't adjust depending on your need. So that's kind of the state stance. They've implemented many unfair rules in order to address this, and ones that only serve to attack doctors on both sides, good or bad. And so once again, this is my fear, is that that will slowly lead into the degradation of medical marijuana, people withdrawing from it, people withdrawing money from it, people withdrawing their support from it, people withdrawing and no longer licensing themselves or obtaining those cards because they no longer want to jump through the hoops or deal with the headache or the bureaucracy of it.
So it sounds like what you're saying is, it's like a lot of other things. Once the government gets too far involved, it gets all screwed up.
Yeah, very much. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big proponent for. Still there?
Yeah.
Am I in front of it?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm actually a proponent for regulation. I believe in regulation to a certain degree, but I believe in it with anything. If we went to a restaurant and it was an unlicensed, ungraded kitchen, you wouldn't feel too comfortable eating at that restaurant. We want licensing, we want regulation for our industries, all of them. If I wanted to run a taxi service, I would have to apply for a certain license and would meet certain regulations and obey certain laws, and my cars would have to meet certain requirements. If I wanted to open a restaurant, my kitchen would have to meet certain requirements. My employees, myself, I would need licensing and a graded kitchen and stuff. If I wanted to open a bar, and so on down the line, there's not an industry I can think of that doesn't have licensing or regulation, and that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It legitimizes us as cannabis. It means we're as serious and taken as seriously as anybody else. The problem is the state likes to overregulate it, and they do it as a form of punishment for people who push those boundaries, right? And so as a form of punishment, when they get irritated by what they see, they then create unnecessary restriction. Again, we'll go back to, I can get a Vicodin prescription filled at midnight at Walgreens, but I can't purchase cannabis after 7. This is probably one of the best examples of overregulation, but it's that way all over the cannabis industry. And so I think that the state needs to step back and look at what their real end game is here. And their end game essentially would be to license, regulate, and tax all of it in all its aspects. Mm-hmm. And instead, they're going to make the public trade one for the other, okay? And they're going to lose a revenue avenue if they're not careful. And I think that they need to take a moment to think about that and mind their actions when it comes to over-regulating us, because you're going to make us choose one or the other rather than enjoying both.
Well, what a great interview.
Yeah, Jay Johnson, Doug Weatherman, Speakeasy Vape Lounge. We got about 60 seconds. At the start of the hour, we talked about a special for folks.
Please call into the Hempspeak show if you get through and they get a hold of you there. They got 5 free passes from us. Bring 4 of your friends. Come enjoy a night on us. See some live music. Do some dabs with us. The first dab is on me. And also you'll grab a limited edition Speakeasy t-shirt. So if you guys want to, call on in. I'm going to take my turn at the number, 591-5874.
Good.
591 Kush.
Good
I
job.
tried it.
Hempspeak.com, JR. We've got Tim Gordon from CBDRX, Ryan Grango in studio on Wednesday. How's your day going? Have a great one.
Speakeasy Vape Lounge, 2508 East Bijou here in Colorado Springs. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
This is KHI 15.
Yeah.